In 1838, Edgar Allan Poe wrote a novel called The Narrative of Arthur Gordon Pym of Nantucket. It is the story of a ship called the Grampus that gets caught in an ice pack and then gets wrecked on an island. And the only survivors of this wreck are the captain, two sailors, and a cabin boy named Richard Parker. And they're only there for about 2 weeks before they start to starve. So the sailors, they turn to cannibalism. Before Richard Parker could escape, the sailor caught and killed him. Now, whether or not Poe was being prophetic or just a big fan of the cabin boy character, I don't know. But 46 years after Poe wrote that novel, basically the same thing happened in real life. A ship called the Minuet, it sank off the coast of South America. There were 26 people on board. But only 8 of them survived, and among the survivors were 4 cabin boys. One of whom was named Richard Parker. So after they had been adrift at sea for a couple of weeks, the survivors, they started to get pretty hungry. And so they drew lots to see who would be the first to die. And wouldn't you know it, it was cabin boy Richard Parker. After being at sea for 40 days, the survivors, they finally got rescued. But when they were rescued, they admitted that they had eaten Richard Parker. Now, obviously, this isn't Poe's fault, nor is it the fault of the cabin boy who died. But it does make you wonder what would have happened if Poe hadn't written that novel. If he hadn't introduced the world to the tragic tale of Richard Parker. The cabin boy who got eaten by cannibals, would someone else have written it? Would someone else's imagination have conjured up the image of a cabin boy being chased through the jungle by a bunch of hungry sailors? Or would this poor kid have actually gotten to rest in peace? Well, sadly, we'll never know the answer to those questions. But what we do know is that there's nothing more terrifying than the ocean, except maybe for the ocean in a horror movie. And luckily for you, we have an entire playlist of the best horror movies set at sea, so click here to watch those now.